Hi, I'm from Blue Solar and Wind, and today we're going to go over the installation for an off-grid system. Okay, we've gone over this in a previous video. We're going to locate the quick mounts on the installation area on the roof. The first step in that is marking the center line of each truss, and that would be from one side to the other of the installation area, which we simply do by measuring out the center line of the truss all the way down for each truss and mark with chalk mark throughout the installation area. In order to do the chalk line, you need to measure the same distance on both sides of your installation area and simply run your chalk line from one side to the other, making a mark along the roof throughout the whole width of your installation area. The width or distance apart from one quick mount to the other is primarily predicated on the location of each quick mount, starting with the first one, where it is properly located to prevent water penetration underneath the roofing material. In this case, our first quick mount is approximately 24 inches from the edge of the roof. Once we've located that properly, making sure that it's positioned so that no water can penetrate underneath the roofing material, we then locate the other one approximately 48 inches or 4 feet above that on the roof in order to accommodate our panel mounting. That process is repeated throughout the installation area at approximately 4 feet intervals from one end to the other. Along with your solar panels, you will receive a wired rail, an adjacent rail, and a component panel already pre-assembled. So in order to assemble your wired rail and your support rail, you simply slide the included connector over the rail abutment and take the provided self-tapping screws, and you simply drive them in and tighten up the rail on both sides as such. Additionally, the rails come with the L brackets already installed and adjustable to accommodate the location of the quick mounts on the roof. We've installed the wire rail and we've adjusted the L brackets to meet the quick mounts, and then in order to securely mount the rail, we use a washer, a lock washer, and of course a nut. You simply slide them on to the quick mount bolt, thread that down, making sure that proper alignment, and we simply ratchet that down snugly. So now we're installing the support rail, and we simply adjust the L bracket, moving it over the bolt from the quick mount, and as before, we install the washer, the lock washer, and the nut, and then we simply ratchet that firmly in place. Now that we've installed our rails, we will then proceed to drill a 1-inch hole through the eave of the roof in order to run our wiring and conduit down to the central control panel, which is supplied pre-assembled. The wired rail comes pre-assembled with all wiring necessary, including the conduit which runs along the surface of your roof, the J-box, and 2 positives, 2 negatives, and a ground, already color-coded for easy installation. Now, as you can see, we fed the wire through the vent stack, flashing, down through the hole that we drilled through the eave, and ran the wires down to the central control panel, which again is already assembled and comes included with the kit. Here we have the DC disconnect, which is included with the kit, and the wires that are coming down from the wired rail through the conduit, the J-box, and down through the eave into the DC disconnect. Here we have the ground, the 2 negative wires, and the 2 positive wires connected to the circuit breakers. Also included in your kit will be 45 feet of cable. You'll have bare ends to connect to the DC disconnect, and the other end will come already prepared with loop connectors to connect to the central panel. Okay, using the included cables, we'll connect the red wire here, the black wire to this bus bar, and the green wire to this bus bar, and those will then connect and run through conduit to the central panel. So here we are at the central panel with the cable and the loop connectors, and we'll simply remove the screws from the gang box provided here on the central panel. These will come through the conduit and be fed up through and into the gang box, and these will be connected per color code, red with the red, black with the black, and green with the green. Now that we've connected the wires to the central panel, we'll go and install the solar panels. We didn't do that before because we didn't want to take any risk of having any of the cabling energized while we were doing that part of the installation as a safety measure. For proper installation, the whole system, all metallic parts anyway, need to be grounded. That starts from the panel and goes to the earth all the way through the system. So starting with the panel, we have a grounding lug here, and we simply pick an appropriate spot on the panel and get a self-tapping metal screw and tighten up the grounding lug to the panel. The wired rail comes with the grounding lugs already installed. So you run the wire from the panel through each grounding lug supplied for you over to the grounding connector at the end of the rail near the conduit. The wired rail comes with connectors, positive and negative. The panels will be connected in series. Just know that they're color-coded, and you want to make sure you make the connections between the wired rail and the panel red to red and black to black. Your kit comes with 2 kinds of clamps, an end clamp and a middle clamp. The bolts on the clamps are specially manufactured to slide into the rail and lock in place. So we simply slide the end in, twist it, sliding the clamp up, and finger tighten the bolt, the clamp bolt, with the clamp into place. and then ratchet snugly the clamp, taking care to not over tighten. The upper rail comes pre-marked to let you know approximately where to position the clamp and the panel. In order for our panel installation to be parallel and square, we need to take care that the distance from the rail to the edge of the panel on each side is approximately the same. Here it's around 8.5 inches. On this side, then we'll move to the other side and check that, and it's approximately the same. Again, the upper rail is already pre-marked with a red mark letting you know approximately where the clamp should be placed, clamp and panel alignment. Here again, this is a middle clamp, and we're in between the two panels, so we'll use a middle clamp here. Again, it slides into the rail itself. It twists, locks itself into place. Once we have the clamp in place and the panel properly aligned, we snug it down, taking care to not put too much pressure on the panel. So here we are at the bottom non-wired rail, and we've repeated the process, making sure that the panels are aligned and firmly tightening the middle clamp without over tightening. And we repeat that process throughout the installation area on each panel. Your panels will be delivered covered with a heavy bond paper. This serves two purposes. It will help protect them during transportation, and it will also prevent them from generating current or power while you're doing the installation. Once you've installed the panels, you must remove the heavy bond paper for them to be put into service and function properly. Now it's time to connect the batteries. But it's very important to ensure that before any battery connection takes place, all of the breakers are in the off position or down. Now it's time to connect our batteries. It's very important to use safety equipment when working with the batteries, especially safety glasses. The batteries are going to be connected in series. This is designed to be a 48 volt system because it's more efficient than a 12 volt or a 24 volt system. There are 8 batteries included with your kit, and we will be hooking them up with these cables that are color coded red and black to indicate positive and negative. So they'll be hooked up in series, positive to negative, and so on, over the whole length of batteries that you're connecting, all 8 batteries. As a safety feature, your central panel comes with sensors that detect the temperature of the battery to protect the integrity of the whole system. So it's important to connect each one of these cables to a negative connection on the batteries, and there's 2 each. There's also a ground included that will go to your main central grounding rod to earth. Now we'll connect the primary battery cables, which come from the central panel. We simply slide it onto the negative end at the last battery, the last one that's connected in series. Snug that down. Then we take the positive end the other end of the batteries in series, and we'll connect that to the positive connector. And snug that down, and now you have power to your central panel. Now that we've connected our battery, we're going to energize the system. We'll do that by turning the breakers on. So, and that will put power to our central panel. The charge controller has 3 lights: red, yellow, and green. Obviously, the red being in need of charging, the yellow being in a discharge condition, and the green being fully charged, so that we can keep track of the charge level of our batteries. And finally, we're at the AC panel, where we've converted it through the primary inverter from DC to AC. These blanks here are removed where you will install the proper amperage circuit breaker for your particular needs and requirements at your home. So your system comes with this plug and cable included. This is for an auxiliary power source such as a gas or diesel generator. In the event that your batteries become discharged, this will actually charge your batteries and provide you with AC power from the auxiliary power source that you choose. And this can be simply plugged into that source and left plugged in, or you can plug it in as needed.